All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of barbecue, Lone Stars, and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. My team won. Your team did not. We will give you our breakdowns of Chargers and Houston game and the Eagles-Packers game, including our Mayflower moves and Lone Stars of the games. Plus, you need to pick a new team. So let's go. All In Colts.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network. You're back in a familiar environment. I am not, but I'm back in the hospital. I'm not, but tis the season, I guess, where our family will just spend some time in the hospital.
Yes, sadly, that is the case. I'm not there to help out anymore, which
I know.
I'm sure is not as easy, but
you know what?
I try to be humble. So
yeah, we got multiple drivers, so we can get people where they need to be and things like that. We're freaking out a little bit because we're entering into a little bit busier of a season, but
yes,
you roll with what the hand you're dealt, and adversity comes your way. You gotta
keep
rise
moving
to the challenge, right?
Yeah,
it's true in sports and life.
Yes, yeah. Colts corner bulletin time, though.
Yes, and
there we go. As expected, the Colts added Dennis Allen, longtime Saints defensive coordinator and head coach from 22 to 2024, to their defensive coordinator search. That brings the total known candidates to 4. I'm in favor of the Bengals guy, and I think you are too as well.
Yeah.
I think that would be the smartest decision as of right now because he coached the Super Bowl appearing Bengals defense. Same guy. So.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about how good that Bengals defense was too.
Yeah, the no-name Bengals defense that, much like in politics, sometimes there are big swings, right? You go from an offensive coach to a defensive coach, you go from one scheme to an entirely different kind of scheme. The Lou Anarumo, there we go. Lou Anarumo scheme is entirely different than the Gus Bradley scheme. Very stagnant. You know what you're going to get with Gus Bradley. Everything is constantly changing and disguised, and looks like pressure. What they call simulated pressures. Looks like it's going to be a standard, and all of a sudden they bring the house. So when Chris Ballard talks about change in his end of the year press conference, this is one of those changes
that it needs to be made. Yeah.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and start with the Eagles Packers?
We normally do a narrative. I was not able to watch the game because I was busy with a ton of other stuff. It was my second day back college, meeting people, helping people move stuff in, all the stuff. Yep. So I don't necessarily have a narrative. I'll kind of go over some of the bigger plays in the intangibles, though. Okay. We do have a stat sheet, though. Jordan Love, 20 for 33, 212 yards, and 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 13 for 21, only 131 yards. And 2 touchdowns. It's funny how AR has that stat line. He's a bad quarterback. Jalen Hurts has that. He's good. Yeah, he had the 2 touchdowns, but Jalen didn't have any rushing. AR has them rushing. Is there any difference? No, you're still getting 6 points on the board. Anyways, Josh Jacobs had 18 carries for 81 yards. Saquon Barkley had 25 carries for 119 yards. Saquon a little bit more efficient with those yards. Could have had, I think, about 150 if he would have actually had the touchdown there at the end, but he decided to slide. His teammates were really upset with him. But Saquon, in an interview afterwards, said that he just didn't want to pull a hammy. Didn't want to injure, too much risk. Someone else pulls a hammy trying to block for him on the way. He said he didn't want to risk anything. So he just slid down. That was the game. Good sportsmanship. Class from Saquon. I love it.
Yeah.
So no touchdown for Saquon. Devontae Smith was the leading yards, 55 on 4 receptions, and the Dallas Goedert also had 4 receptions for 47 yards. So, I mean, not much there. Jalen Reed for the Packers had 4 receptions for 46 yards because both Romeo Doubs and someone else went out with an injury. It was Jalen Reed that went out with an injury. The Packers were so broken. I thought it'd be around this score, but I mean, I didn't expect as many people to go down and injured and stuff, which I think is more of a reason for Saquon to just slide at the end there, because people are going down. Like, don't take any chances.
Yep.
Onto the defensive side for the Packers, Quay Walker was leading tackler with 8 tackles. McDuffie and Cooper both had 6. And then Rashawn Gary had the lone sack for the Packers. On the Eagles side of the defense, Blankenship had 11 tackles. Quinyon Mitchell and Dean both had 6 tackles. Bond and Smith Jr. both had 7. Smith Jr. also had 2 sacks. Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, and Darius Slay all had an interception. Big day for the secondary. On the intangibles, though, turnovers. 0 for the Eagles, 3 for the Packers. Also, much more efficient in the run game. For the Eagles, not only was Saquon more efficient than Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts also ran. I think he was 4 for 36 or something like that. He had a decent amount. He had a good chunk. So the Eagles were doing everything. Red zone efficiency was also a really big thing. The fact that here, I'll pull it up real quick because I had it and then I didn't. So here, we'll go here and then we'll go to this. If it'll load. Team stats. Okay. The Packers won in total yards and passing yards. The Eagles won in rushing yards. And the Eagles won by 0.1 in yards per play. First downs was lost by the Eagles. Third down efficiency, lost by the Eagles. They won fourth down efficiency. They went for 1. They got it. The Eagles lost total plays. Sacks were equal. Eagles had more punts. Penalties, there was a 21-yard difference, and Packers had more yards against them. Packers fumbled once and threw 3 interceptions, and the time of possession was pretty much identical. So, red zone efficiency is where that comes into play.
Yeah.
If you get all the yards in the world, but if you can't score, all of the interceptions were, or not all of them, but most of the turnovers were down in Eagles territory for the Packers. So you're getting all these yards, gaining all these, and then the drive just stops just because of one mistake. Football is a game of inches. You have to make every inch count. So if red zone efficiency was a really big thing there. And onto my Mayflower move, which is, obviously it's the biggest play of the game. I almost said Saquon sliding at the end because it probably messed up a lot of people's parlays for not getting a touchdown. But I didn't, because that was way towards the end of the game. I think the Quinyon Mitchell interception in the end zone was obviously a drive staller, and I think it was a massive turn of momentum, and I think they kind of just boosted the Eagles into for a victory there. It was one of the 3, and that leads me to my star of the game. Not Saquon. If he would have gotten a touchdown, it would have been Saquon. But it is Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie from Alabama?
Toledo,
right. Terry and Arnold is the guy from Alabama.
Yep.
He's on the Lions. That's right. Quinyon Mitchell is my player of the game. Was tied for 3rd in most tackles for the Eagles, had an interception. He was a presence out there. Starting too as a rookie. Crazy. They have 2 rookies starting. Their secondary's good. They
Yeah.
have Bond, I believe, is the safety. Blankenship is the other safety. Then they have DeJean, Slay, and
Yep.
Quignon, 2 rookies, but 2 very capable rookies.
And Jared Verse took over the game against the Vikings. So
yeah, rookies taking over.
Kind of taking over on
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, definitely. So that is the Eagles game for you.
All right. Go into my sad Chargers. Not only was it sad because I picked the Chargers, but it was also sad because on the other side was Houston. You know how I feel about them. The narrative time. The Chargers were controlling the game and tempo early, forcing 3-and-outs and turnovers on defense and moving the ball on the ground and through the air, but were unable to capitalize with touchdowns. That led to a 6-0 score with just over 6 minutes left in the half. Then C.J. Stroud and Houston's offense finally woke up on a 3rd and 16 Stroud fumble scoop and pass for a first down. They finished the 99-yard, 13-play drive with a Nico Collins touchdown. A quick 3-and-out for the Chargers led to a field goal for Houston, bringing the halftime score to 10-6, just like that. Houston started the second half the same way they did the first, with a fumble, but a turnover on downs for the Chargers led to another field goal for Fairburn and Houston. After the 2 teams traded possessions, things started to unravel for the Chargers with a pick 6 and another interception that led to a field goal. With their backs up against the wall, the Chargers' 86-yard Ladd McConkey touchdown, but Houston was the first team to ever score a defensive 2-point conversion off a blocked extra point in the playoffs. A Joe Mixon and C.J. Stroud ground game touchdown drive and one more Justin Herbert interception sealed the game. So it's time for the stat sheet now. Herbert went 14 for 32 for 242, 1 touchdown, but those 4 interceptions, 40.9 passer rating. C.J. Stroud on the other side, 22 for 33, 282, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 90.7 rating. Joe Mixon had 106 yards on 25 carries and the ceiling touchdown. J.K. Dobbins had 9 carries for 26 yards, and Gus Edwards added 22 yards on 7 carries. Ladd McConkey ended up his amazing rookie season with 9 catches for 197 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, my goodness.
Rookies. Nico Collins had 122 yards and a touchdown on 7 receptions. Eric Murray led Houston with 7 tackles, while Aziz Alshire had and Henry Tuoto had each had 6. Will Anderson and Mario Edwards each had a sack and a half and a tackle for a loss, and Danico Autry added the other sack. Kamari Lassiter, Eric Murray, and Derek Stingley Jr. all had the interceptions. Diane Henley and Alohi Gilman each had 10 tackles for the Chargers. Troy Dye added 8, and Derwin James added 7, 1 for a loss, and a pass defensed. So he did pretty good. Deanne Leonard had the interception for the Chargers. Khalil Mack had 2 sacks, and Joey Bosa added the other. As far as the intangibles, obviously turnovers played a huge role. I mentioned the first 4, middle 8, and last 4. That was, if you add those 16 minutes up, the score was 17-0 in favor of Houston.
Wow.
To me, it was play calling. Play calling played a huge role. We were watching part of this game toward the end of the half, and you mentioned it. I agree. 3 shots with a minute left in the half, 2 timeouts when Houston had all 3 timeouts. What are we doing? We mentioned you got to start slow, screen pass, something short to get the ball rolling to see if you can have the momentum to take those shots. You take those shots, then you give the ball back to them, and they got an extra.
If you are going down the field and you can't get anything started and something's not working, like something not clicking, run out the half. You don't need to give Houston the ball back.
Right. You didn't even make them use their timeouts because you had 3 shot plays that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They had and then going for it on 4th and 2 from the Houston 34, down 10-6 on the first possession of the second half. Their first possession after getting a turnover. You're down 10-6. Take the points, you're down a point. What are you doing going for it on 4th and 2 when you're in field goal range already? Houston 34 with Dicker the kicker. Come on. It brings up to light a point that I think needs to be made here in today's modern NFL with the analytics and everything like that. We've talked about this offline. I think coaches are too into the analytics, too aggressive at the wrong amounts of times. Mm-hmm. Take the points and live to fight another day.
Yeah.
But also in relation to the end of the half, don't panic. Like, you're down 7-6. There was no reason to go shot plays there. I refer to Tony Dungy in the Colts 2006 AFC Championship game. Before the game, he said, because the Colts had this long losing streak to the Patriots going, and finally they got a game at home in the AFC Championship game in the playoffs. And so often it had been in New England. The theme that he's dished out in his pregame was, "It's our time." That was his quote. "It's our time." Then the Colts went down 21-3 after a Peyton Manning pick 6 in the second quarter. And Tony Dungy didn't flinch. He still was on the sideline saying, "It's our time." I've heard Jeff Saturday say they were all looking at him like he was crazy because like the air had left the building. There was no momentum at all. You're down 21-3
against Tom Brady.
It's here we go again. But it's still our time. 38-34 the final. Colts win the game. Because they took their time, they chipped away at it, they didn't panic, and they just kept with "it's our time." Guess who else's mantra is that this season? Washington Commanders.
I like it. They beat the Bucks. By the way, while we're talking about it real quick, playoff picture is set. Playoff picture is set for the next round. It is Buffalo hosting the Ravens. Mm-hmm. It is the Chiefs hosting Houston. And it is the Lions hosting the Commanders. And the Eagles hosting the Rams. Yep. Very interesting on the NFC side. I like it, though. I like it a lot. The 2 top seeds versus 2 kind of people rising up, barely making the playoffs type of people, but fighting for it. I like it.
I told you somebody's gonna come in like this. I just picked the wrong one.
AFC is so boring. It's the division winners. Come on, AFC, do something special.
It's the same 4 as last year too in the AFC.
Is it?
Same Final Four.
It's the same games too.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's so boring. Oh, do
we need
something
some help.
different.
We need some help here. Come on now.
Come on,
We
Colts.
need
You
some
got it.
freshness. Okay. But yes, we will pick those 4 games in our pick 4 later this week.
Yes.
Last one to me is Justin Herbert's decision making. Obviously, when he throws,
you said it was going to be a key to the game.
Yep, it was the wrong direction. He threw more interceptions in this game than he had all season long. One game.
The Houston defense isn't that good. It's good, but not that good.
Yeah. Well, Houston fans on social media want to tell you entirely different.
Houston fans would like to say Justin Herbert's better than AR, but AR didn't throw 4 interceptions.
I mean, the Colts lost to Houston by
Twice.
a total of 5 points in 2 games. A total of 5 points in 2 games.
Yes. We'll get him next year.
Even with an interception and a tap out. So yeah, check it down, man. Just check it down. Like I know you can. Just because you don't have Austin Eckler there anymore doesn't mean you can't check it down to the running back. Come on. Mayflower move to me was the 3rd and 16 scoop and convert in the second quarter. I know that's early, but literally Houston was completely different after that. Like literally they were toast up until that moment. That happened. Something happened on that play where they flipped a switch and both sides of the ball, they were entirely different after that.
Yeah.
My star of the game, lone star of the game is we both have cornerbacks. Derek Stingley Jr., 2 interceptions, 2 pass defense, and 4 solo tackles.
Yes.
That is setting the edge, being on an island and doing your thing. And much respect to what he has grown into just in 2 seasons. So
yes, I will like to give an honorable mention real quick to Ladd McConkey, though, who had an absolute day.
Yeah,
representing Georgia well.
Of course, 86 of those was on one play.
It doesn't matter though. You still had an 86-yard touchdown.
Yep. I'm going to need to pick a new team, but I will leave y'all in suspense on who that's going to be. But that's it. That's all we got for today. We'll be back later this week with our brand new unstable pick 4 of the divisional round playoff predictions. Then we will finish off the week with our preview of our games.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.